What's up, you guys? It's your boy Miguel here to give you your daily dose of radiation. In today's video, we are covering why X-ray tech school can mentally break students. So to give you context, I am a night shift X-ray tech, been doing it for over 4 years in the Trauma 3 ER in the great state of Texas. So, X-ray school. If you're watching this, most likely you're probably heading or curious what that entails as far as your mental status. I will let you know. See back there? I had 2 little kids back to back in the program. So, you could sprinkle a little extra funsies into the variables of stress and outside of just school, because both whatever you have going on outside of school and both school will just become this big glob of just chaos and mentally draining. Because first you'll be fine, because you have hopes and dreams, you have all this energy, you've taken all the other classes before, it's not been a problem, everything's been good. And then you enter the program. Now, depending on how smart you are, if you're Sheldon or if you're a regular person like Miguel, Team 75, that will you will fall into a different level of how much mentally draining the program is. So, if you're like me, Team 75, C's get degrees, and you don't have kids, I would say it's not as bad. And especially if you don't even have a job and you're fortunate enough that maybe your parents or whoever, your significant other, is paying for school and everything, all you have to do is go to school, you shouldn't really be complaining, because you have all the time to dedicate it. Now, you may not want to just because of the amount of workload and stuff like that, but you should be okay. Even though there's people I remember in the program that would be complaining, and I'm like, bro, you have the easiest out of everyone. There's no reason to be complaining, because compared to the regular courses you took before, A&P1 and all the other sciences, the program itself, if you break it individually by courses, it's not that bad. Now thinking back at it and looking over stuff, it's not that bad. But what happens is everything kind of smushes and gets together, and you have some semesters or some courses where maybe they do it on purpose. Maybe it's just the way they land, that you have essays, you have projects, you have tests, you have checkoffs, you have clinicals, you have whatever's going on outside of just, you have work, you have, some family, you have other stuff going on. Everything just becomes this big old blob. And I remember I was so stressed that my neck was hurting. You've given up sleep, your body's high cortisol level, and you're just some people can't handle it and they'll drop out. Other people, you just gotta suck it up. And there was a time for me, I think the worst, the most hardest was for 3 months straight. It was literally wake up at 5 in the morning, go get breakfast. Well, I think I was eating breakfast at home or get breakfast or whatever, and then drop off the kids to daycare. Drive an hour to my clinical site, because some people you'll have it close, other people I'll have it far, depending on where you get thrown at. Drive an hour and then make it there about 8 o'clock. Do clinicals. That was the easiest part of the day. Just the clinical. If it was a clinical day, it was easy, because you're just doing free work, and you could maybe study if it was slow. And then, because you're so sleep deprived, I was chugging bangs and stuff. I think I was at 1,200 milligrams. It was wild. It was crackhead level. I'd come home, by the time I got home and pick up the kids, it was 6. And then by the time I was finished with just doing the bare minimum, taking care of the family, eating, showering, whatever. It was like 9, still had to study. No Netflix, no YouTube, no none of that. No gym, no, you just had to give up all that just to focus on the books. And then by the time I would, depending if it was some stuff due or if there was a quiz, God forbid there was a test, because Miguel couldn't absorb stuff fast enough. So I was up till like 2, 3 in the morning, and then school starts like I had to leave, had to wake up like at 6:30 the next day. I was up till 2, 3 in the morning studying, especially if it was a test night, and then wake up, drop off the kids, and it was a cycle again. But this time it was a little bit more harder because it was a school. You actually had to be cognitively paying attention to stuff, and then you would run it again. You would do school, lab, homework, quizzes, whatever stuff. School would end about like 2 or 3, and then if you had labs or clinicals, checkoffs and stuff like that, you may be there studying till 4 or 5 or whenever the teacher would leave if you weren't that smart. Some people left early. I had to stay there later because I'd struggled to like absorb stuff. And then you'd run it back again, and there would be like a cycle of just for like 3 to 4 months of just straight, just waking up. You felt like a slave, and like you felt like you had no life, soulless. You were just, I looked dead. I remember my wife was like, Miguel, I hope you're okay, because like I looked so rough, dead, running off of 1,200 milligrams, crackhead. But like I would do it off of like low amounts of sleep, just running it, trying to, make it by. Probably by Saturday, my body would crash. Saturday, I would literally I remember cracking a bang around midnight. And then by 2 a.m., just passed out on the textbook. And my lady would be like, yo, you need to go to sleep. And I would sleep in a little bit. And then Sunday, I would be, once again, you run it back again. Depending if you have stuff going on, there's people who had it worse than me because they had to study. They had like to go to work and not have the weekends to catch up on studying or doing stuff like that. And it can get quite chaotic because like all social interactions in your brain, you'd be like, especially if you're not smart, you'd be like, well, if I go and hang out with my friends or hang out with my family, this time I could have been dedicated to school, to learning, to maybe making a higher grade on a test, maybe working on a project. And like your time, you feel like you don't have enough time. Like there was times where I'm like, them 24 hours, I'm like, why is there not any more time? Time would be it would go so quick, and it would piss me off. But I would say that it felt like I didn't have enough time, but since my program was 2 years, it was a total of, what is it? Like 600 something days of Xray school. I remember looking at my little calendar and marking it off as the date. It was a weird feeling that it would take so long. And now that I'm done with school, 4 years, like that, nothing. Like it just went whew, easy, chill, just here pushing the button. It's easy. But I remember in school, it was so tough just making it day by day. And now days just go by and it's no stress, and it's so easy. And I could see how like if you don't have the mental willpower, like even the teachers will see you'll come in, and it's funny because they take a little mugshot at the beginning of the program and then they show it to you at the end compared to where you are, and you can just see how just like mentally draining. Just like when the presidents go to office and they get like inaugurated, and then they show them at the end of their their a lot, like when they finish, when they leave the office and they look so dead, and same thing. But then again, there's other people, like for instance, my manager here who went through the program, same program as me, smart, A's, made like a 90 on boards, complete opposite. He was like, yeah, it was a little inconvenient, but it wasn't that bad compared to like me who's struggling, fighting for his life just to make it through the program. barely passed board, and it's a whole different aspect. It just really kind of depends on how you are, but for most people who are normal and aren't as smart, they will. This is a whole different beast. I remember looking back at all the regular classes I took prior to it, and I was like, it might as well have been high school 2.0, because the medical program, it's something else. Pacing, and then we had the throwing COVID into the mix, online stuff, and it can get a lot. I ain't gonna lie to you, it can get a lot. So, and then we've had a lot of busy work to throw on top of it. Some of the busy work, and I was like, this had nothing to do with what we have to learn. It's just you just need a certain amount of grades to fill it up on the book, and that would make you off, piss you off too. But anyways, it can get a lot. I will let you know. It is worth it. I'm here chilling, pushing the button at night. Can't confirm nor deny naps. It can get good if you find a good job. But anyways, it's been your boy Miguel. We'll see you on the next one.